Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the Washington Commanders signing former Panthers and Jaguars guard Andrew Norwell. I'll talk about if I think it's a good move and if I think it's the upgrade over Ereck Flowers, who they released yesterday. I'll also talk about Carson Wentz's press conference. We'll go over a few important quotes from that. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. I'm so close to 7,500 subscribers, so please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video, especially these free agency videos, and also follow my Twitter. Now let's get right into the video. So after releasing Ereck Flowers yesterday to clear up about $10 million in cap space, we all knew that the Washington Commanders were going to have to address that guard position, because not only did they lose Ereck Flowers yesterday, but they lost Brandon Sheriff on the first day of the legal tampering period, which was expected, but we didn't, at least as fans, didn't expect to lose also Ereck Flowers. So you had a hole at left guard and at right guard. I mean, you could say Wes Schweitzer could be our starter, and I would be comfortable with that, but you still definitely had one hole, and bringing in Andrew Norwell fills that hole. Definitely, he's a left guard, so he likely will be our starting left guard, and your offensive line will likely be Charles Leno at left tackle, Andrew Norwell at left guard, and then have Chase Roulier at center, and then likely Wes Schweitzer at right guard and Sam Cosmi at right tackle. They could still sign another guard in free agency. I mean, they probably will, but the question is, will that guy be an upgrade over Wes Schweitzer? And they might draft a guy as well. But that offensive line to me is pretty solid. It might not be as good as it was last year, but I still think it's a pretty solid offensive line. The one question with this deal right here is we don't know what the terms are. It was reported earlier in the morning, like 9:45, and the terms still haven't came out yet. But he did officially sign the deal per Nikki Jabala of the Washington Post. So we know it's official. We're just waiting for the numbers. If it's anything really under $6 million, I think that's an absolute steal, and really anything under $10 million is a solid deal. I mean, it really just depends who you think is better, Andrew Norwell or Ereck Flowers. And last year, Ereck Flowers, in my opinion, was better. I mean, he did allow double the sacks. Norwell allowed 3 sacks, Flowers allowed 6. But overall, if you look at some of the numbers and pressures allowed, I think Ereck Flowers was a little bit better. He also had way less penalties. But here's the thing. Andrew Norwell, his best season as a pro came in 2017 under Ron Rivera and John Matsko, and he was an all-pro. And real quick, let's go through with it. I know everyone's saying, man, Ron Rivera signed another Carolina Panther. You know what, though? I honestly could not care less if it's a Panther, if it's a Cowboy, if it's a Patriot. Whoever it is, if he's good at football, I'm fine with it. When I'm fine with it. And his best year was in 2017 with Ron Rivera. He was a first-team All-Pro. Then he got a big deal with the Jaguars and has been fine the last 4 years. He hasn't been amazing, but he's been solid. And they moved on from him this year and went and signed Brandon Sheriff, who I guess will be their right guard. So not technically replacing him, but still they paid Brandon Sheriff. You look at this comparison real quick by Pete Haley. Andrew Norwell is 2 months younger than Brandon Sheriff and is a one-time All-Pro like Sheriff, and they're kind of both replacing each other, but we'll see what Andrew Norwell's deal is, but I assume it's going to be a lot less than Brandon Sheriff's deal. I like this deal as long as it's under $10 million. If it's over $10 million, then there's no reason to cut Ereck Flowers and bring in Norwell, unless you think he's a significant upgrade, and I don't think he is at this point in his career. We'll see, though. I think it's going to be in that $5 to maybe $7 million range, and if that's the case, it's a solid move because you save some money, and I think, personally, Andrew Norwell will be at the same level or better than Ereck Flowers was this past season. He'll be better than that or at the same level next year. And here's why. Norwell, yes, it's been 4 years since he was with Rivera and Matsko, but the last time he was a first-team All-Pro in this similar scheme, this same system, and under the same coaches. I mean, we've seen what John Matsko can do with these offensive linemen. I mean, he can turn around their careers, and Eric Flowers was good before he got here. He was good here in 2019, but then he went to the Dolphins, did not play well, comes back under John Matsko and plays even better than he did in 2019, in my opinion. He helped continue to develop Charles Leno, did a really good job with Cosme, with Schweitzer. I mean, with everyone who's been here, he's done a really good job. And not only will he get the best out of, Norwell, but he's also super familiar with him. So I think that will already increase the level of play that Andrew Norwell will be with. He's also going to be with better linemen. So when you're with better linemen, it helps your overall numbers and how you look, because those guys next to you can help pick up guys, whether it's in pass blocking situations or run blocking situations as well. The better offensive line you have, the better you look as an individual. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how this move turns out, but I personally do like this move. And I mean, honestly, probably rather just kept Eric Flowers and extended him, because then you can keep Eric Flowers and lower his cap hit maybe to $4 million. And then, I mean, that's the best of both worlds. But the question is, they probably did go to Eric Flowers and, I mean, it's been reported. I think Keim reported that they, went to Eric Flowers and asked him for an extension, but he, really didn't. They couldn't agree on the numbers. So if that's the case, whatever, they go ahead, get Andrew Norwell. I think it's a solid deal. I really do. And your offensive line might not be, it's not as good as it was last year, but you keep some continuity with Charles Leno, Chase Roulier, and Sam Cosme. And then Norwell already knows the system, so it's not going to take as long for him to adjust. And you have Wes Schweitzer, who played for you last year. And then you have Sadiq Charles as that next guy up. I still would add a guy, whether it's in free agency or the draft, probably add a guy in the draft, like that 3rd round range, add a guy right there. But overall, I think it is a good deal. So now on to kind of let's talk about the Carson Wentz press conference. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good press conference by Carson Wentz. I think he was accountable. He was funny at times. And, I think he was, it was a solid press conference. So we'll read and this is one thing real quick by JP Finley. He says, Washington liked Flowers, especially in pass blocking. But one area I've heard Norwell might be better is in the screen game. So he's really good in terms of blocking for screens and kind of that pulling guard. And our screens last year, especially our screen execution, was awful. And that was probably the biggest weakness from our offensive line last year. I mean, we would have the play, like Scott Turner would, draw up the play, design it pretty well, and it just wouldn't be executed properly. And a lot of it was on the offensive line or receiver missing a block, and that always can mess up the whole screenplay. So yeah, let's see right here. So real quick, let's talk about the Carson Wentz press conference. I felt overall it was a good press conference, so let's get into some of the quotes. So David Aldridge from The Athletic says, "Why are you still not in Indy?" Carson Wentz says, "Sometimes I wonder the same. To be honest, I think it was a year that had some highs and lows, ups and downs, but the way I finished was horrible. It was horrible. It was tough to swallow." So I love that accountability. He knows, he understands that he did not play well. And, he could just be saying this to the public, but I truly believe that he believes that he was bad. He knows he was bad, and he knows he needs to be better. And that's what you like to see, if you want a leader at the quarterback position, which, there's some doubts about Carson Wentz as a leader, you need to have accountability. And that's accountability right there. Talking about how he was bad at the end of the season, and he was one of the reasons why they weren't able to, win those last couple games. So I like that by Carson Wentz, really like that quote. And he also talked about, if he has had any relationships with any of the players on the team. He really said no, but he's talked to a couple players, after games. He talked to Terry and said I really want to throw the ball to you one day. I hope you're, catching my passes at some point. And it turned out to happen, or it will happen, and I'll read this right here. So Wentz was asked about players in Washington, mentioned Terry McLaurin in particular, recalled a time he played Washington and remembers McLaurin picking apart Philly's D on a deep slant and taking it 80 yards to the house. I was like, this kid's different. Never did I think it would have ended up like this. So, that's another quote right there. And then Carson Wentz said that Chase Young reached out right away. He heard from others on the team too, and he says they were all welcoming. So good to hear. And if you guys want to see the full press conference, I'm sure it's on the Washington Commanders YouTube channel and everything like that. But we're going to hear more from Carson Wentz, from Ron Rivera in the next months or so. But I think it was a good first press conference by Carson Wentz. He pretty much answered all the questions that were thrown at him, and none of them were like BS answers. They were true, honest answers. And he had the burgundy and gold colors already. He had the gold jacket from his North Dakota State days, and then he had that kind of burgundy, polo right there. So he looked good, in my opinion, with, the burgundy and gold colors. You can't go wrong with that. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a free agency video. I'm happy we finally signed a outside free agent, because it was getting annoying. And, let's hope we sign another one today, and I'll keep you guys updated with that. Peace, guys.